Hey everyone, in a previous class I had mentioned CSS variables, so I just wanted to go over what those were. They're basically a way to set custom properties in CSS. If you've taken some other coding languages, then you might be familiar with what a variable is, where you can store a value in a named variable and access it in other places. And you can do that in CSS by declaring some custom properties with a name that you give it, and then you can use it elsewhere in your CSS. So basically you take the element and this is how you set up the variable. So the common way of doing this is to put this on this root pseudo class, and then this makes it accessible to every other element in your CSS. They can then use it. So it's applied globally across your HTML. If you put it on a specific element, it limits it to everything inside that particular element. But this is the one that you'll probably see the most. So I'm going to jump to Dablet real quick. I have some HTML set up, a header, a main section, and a footer. So let's say that we want to write some CSS, and we'll do style that header. We'll give it a background, and let's say we want to do like a cool gradient, so I'll do linear gradient. If you haven't found linear gradients yet in any of the stuff you've been working on, they're pretty cool, so recommend checking those out. And then we'll do yellow. Alright, so I got a cool little header gradient there. And let's say I want to do that on the footer too. I'm going to copy and paste this so I don't have to write it again. Okay, there I got my footer. And say I also wanted to put it on my button. So this is getting a little monotonous because I'm using the same color over and over again, and if your CSS is pretty long, you might have to be scrolling around and looking for this value. And then you also have the problem of, say you want to change, did I have that? No. Say you want to change this color, you're going to have to go through and change it in every single location, which can be super annoying. Remember, like, we want to be as lazy as possible. I just want to make this pretty. This has nothing to do with what I'm trying to show you, but can't help myself. There. That looks great. Alright, so how can we do this in a less annoying way? We can set this as a variable. So these things that we're reusing a lot, so maybe I want to set it for everything, so I'll do this here, and then we'll name it cool gradient. And we'll give it that value. So now, in theory, we should be able to use that here. So the way that you access it is you write var, get your parentheses in there, and then you do cool gradient. Yeah. And then you can just use this cool gradient anywhere you want. So let me erase that one and that one. Oops, no, that was literally where I want to set it. Down here. Cool. And so now if I want to change this, maybe I wanted this instead of yellow, I wanted it to be blue. And now it changed in all these places. So that's pretty cool. You can use this for a lot of different things. Maybe you wanted a primary color. I use this one a lot. So say you come up with your color palette and you want to put that in here. Maybe your primary color is tomato, and maybe your secondary or your accent color is cornflower blue. And then you could, add these in here wherever you want. So do tomato primary color. Maybe on here you have your secondary color. And this keeps you from having to go around and look for where all these values are. And then if you wanted to change your entire color palette, I could change it in one spot. So maybe I want it to be lime green. and then anywhere that this is using that primary color, it'll change it. So that's just a little snippet on CSS variables. They're fairly recent, I believe. I think, well, CSS 3, so I guess they've been around for a little bit, but a lot of people hadn't used them for a while because of browser support. But now I think they have browser support for everything except Internet Explorer. So if you're using Internet Explorer for the application, yeah, Internet Explorer doesn't like it, then you wouldn't be able to use these, or you'd have to use some extra code to have a fallback for that. So, yeah, that's basically it.